Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert, and I'm very pleased to welcome all of you, the students of Europe Hotel School, to your online learning journey. Today, we're tackling a topic that is absolutely unavoidable in our industry: difficult conversations. We've all been there. But what if they weren't obstacles to be dreaded, but actually opportunities to shine? In this explainer, we're going to break down how to master these critical moments and turn potential conflict into stronger professional relationships.
It's so true, isn't it? Our natural instinct is often to avoid these tough talks, but the best leaders, the kinds you are training to become, know that a challenging dialogue is a pivotal moment. The core idea we're exploring is this: when you handle these conversations with skill, you don't just solve a problem. You actually build a stronger relationship and reinforce the trust that guest or colleague has in you.
So that really brings us to the big question, right? How do we actually do it? How do we shift our mindset, and more importantly, our technique, to transform a moment that feels like a conflict into one of genuine connection? Well, that is exactly what we are going to break down step by step.
So let's think about where these conversations usually go wrong. It's almost never just about the topic itself, whether it's a billing error or a service issue. The real challenge, the thing that we absolutely have to master, is the emotion, both the client's and, just as importantly, our own.
Just look at the contrast here. On one side, you've got our natural reactive impulses. We feel challenged, so we get defensive. We're under pressure, we feel anxious. Maybe we say something impulsive. That's human. But on the other side, that's the professional response. And this isn't about ignoring your emotions, it's about being aware of them. That awareness is what allows you to be thoughtful and collaborative, instead of just reacting. And that right there is the foundation.
Okay, so let's get practical. Everything, and I mean everything, starts before the conversation even begins. Thinking of preparation as just a checklist is a mistake. It's the essential groundwork that gives you control, clarity, and most of all, confidence when you walk into that room.
So the key here is to be really systematic about it. First things first, get absolute clarity on the facts. What happened exactly? No assumptions. Second, you have to be the expert on the relevant hotel policies. This is your framework. And third, you need to define your desired outcome. What does a successful resolution look like? Not just for the hotel, but for the client too. This process just strips away so much of the uncertainty and really empowers you.
But, and this is a huge but, no plan ever survives contact with reality perfectly, especially when that reality involves a client's emotions. Your preparation gives you a strong starting point, a solid anchor. But you have to stay flexible. Your ability to adapt in the moment is every bit as important as the work you did beforehand.
All right, and that brings us right into the heart of the interaction itself, the during phase. This is where all that preparation meets the real world, and where specific communication techniques become your most valuable tools.
You know, the single most powerful tool you have in your arsenal is active listening. This is not about just waiting for your turn to talk. It's about creating the space for the client to feel fully heard, without interruption. When you truly listen, you communicate respect. And then, reflecting it back with a simple phrase like, okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, that can validate their feelings and just dramatically lower the emotional temperature in the room.
This slide really shows how much your specific words can shape the entire outcome. Escalating language, things like "you always" or "our policy forbids," it just builds walls. But de-escalating language, that builds bridges. Simple shifts in phrasing like "I understand your concern" or "let's explore what's possible" can completely change the dynamic from a conflict to a collaboration. Suddenly, you're not opponents anymore. You're partners trying to find a solution together.
Now let's talk about a tool that, honestly, a lot of people find uncomfortable: silence. The natural impulse is to fill every single pause, which can really come across as defensive. But using silence strategically, that's a sign of confidence. It gives the client a moment to process, to calm down. It gives you a moment to think. It's an incredibly powerful technique for controlling the pace and the temperature of a conversation.
When a client brings up an objection, try to reframe it in your mind. It's not a personal rejection. It's an expression of a concern. Your job is simply to address that concern calmly and with the facts. And hey, if a request just isn't possible, explaining why, explaining the limitations clearly and respectfully is absolutely essential. That's how you maintain your credibility, even when the answer is no.
This brings us to the final, crucial phase. What happens after the main dialogue? How a conversation ends is just as important as how it begins.
A strong professional close makes sure the resolution actually sticks, and most importantly, the relationship is preserved. So, a great professional conclusion has 3 clear steps. First, you summarize exactly what was agreed upon. This just heads off any future misunderstandings. Second, you outline the next steps, who's doing what and by when. And finally, you provide closure. Even if the outcome wasn't exactly what the client wanted, this process ensures they leave feeling heard and respected. It's all about preserving their dignity and the professional relationship.
So, to bring this all together, let's circle back to our central theme. These challenging moments are not problems to be avoided. They are, in fact, your greatest opportunities. These are the moments where you get to prove your professionalism, demonstrate genuine empathy, and truly step into a leadership role.
And that really leaves us with just one final thought. With these tools and this new mindset, you are now fully equipped to turn what feels like a conflict into a real connection. So the only question left to ask yourself is this: which relationship, with a client or maybe even a colleague, will you choose to strengthen first?